people imagine that today that Poles and Russians and Azeris have nothing in common, that Poles are part of the European Union, Russians are part of Russia, and Azerbaijan is a Muslim country, but actually they have much more in common, whether it's a shared sort of shared migrations or literary traditions than anybody would sort of imagine in the early 21st century. We try to actually show that in a way there's a great Russian phrase, which is that scratch a Russian, reveal a Tatar, is that sort of underneath the West there is the East. So if you scratch the surface of the West, the East is there. And similarly, if you scratch the surface of the East, there's ideas from the West that are there as well. There really isn't a clear demarcation. It's really about this creolization, but celebrating that kind of polyphony or many voices. We often say that it's, in a way, we have a kind of a bazaar approach, like a Middle Eastern market approach to contemporary art, in the sense that instead of the kind of traditional focus on one object, one sculpture, sort of conveying everything, and you having to interpret everything from that one sculpture, let's say, we have a kind of sort of something a little bit, something for everybody in a sense, a kind of a big tent approach, if you will. So that, you know, if somebody is a more literary person or more interested in historical or academic work, then they're probably more interested in the books. But somebody who's more interested in sort of performative live aspect, then they're probably going to access it through a lecture or performance. And then people who maybe are more interested in the formal aspect, they need the visuals. So I think that there's many points of entry, and that in a way comes back to something which is very contemporary and very, you know, we talk a lot about the world being flat, and that, you know, with digital technology everything is basically one media, is ones and zeros. In that sense, the difference between a photograph and an MP3, sort of a song and a photograph, and a video is not much. The DNA is the same thing, and in that sense, it's quite similar. Is that I think that it's relevant, at least for us, to try to reach people on different through different channels, through different platforms. Like you mentioned, we've devoted ourselves to this region for the next 40, 50 years, and while we're exploring certain themes or topics within this region, we're sharing it with people around us. It's in no way, in fact, it's no way didactic or pedagogical. Even pedagogical is not an appropriate term, because pedagogy assumes that one person knows and the other one doesn't. In this case, it's really sort of together we're moving along this trajectory, and we hope it to be as open-ended as possible. I think that the humor, the generosity, all these are the different access points. These are all sort of in an effort to make it as inviting as possible.